Welcome to the webinar, The Battle Cry of Our Culture. This is actually a re-record from the live that I did earlier today because there was some hiccup in the PowerPoint I'm running. So I'm just going to redo this so that you can see the PowerPoint. Right. So do bear with me. I'm going to show the PowerPoint. Okay, this is the first slide that we are talking about. Navigating from the inside out. So this is what we want to focus on for the next 3 days to understand exactly what we mean when you are stressed, when you're overwhelmed. What does that mean, and how can we actually look at it? And we don't want just to clear things in front of you, but really to clear things from inside of you, right? Before we get any further, please give me a minute just to give myself a quick introduction. Hi, I'm Aris. I came from the corporate background, banking to be more specific. I work in top tier banks like JP Morgan, yes, that's American bank, Credit Suisse, and then Deutsche Bank for the last 2 decades. I moved across from investment to private wealth, from operation to finance, and finally I landed in technology before I left the banking world. So while I was in the banking world, I'm very active in the diversity environment, gender diversity to be more specific, where I was the exco for about 7 to 8 years. I run the partnership pillar, where I do a lot of cooperation with the corporates, and I run the mentoring pillar in the last 2 years. I left the corporate world, I moved into coaching. I qualified a few months ago. I moved into coaching because I want to live in alignment to my very own values. Now that I know what they are, and of course this is in legacy to my son, so that to empower other people to reconnect with themselves and to live a life of authenticity and freedom, because this is the journey that I go through. I do a few volunteering as well, mainly more towards the mental illness, mental health, and also and the NHS on the Project 5, where we actually support the NHS. Right, I think this is a more interesting one, what we're going to cover today. So the 3 objectives of the webinar is actually learn how to navigate from this deep water you can see, and we can get back to the surface. This is possible. And to understand what that you really is your priority. Once you know your true priority, then you can get back your productivity. And to extinguish the fire and gain the clarity of where you want to head towards to in your life. So these 3 days we're going to cover in this order: to see your reality, the journey to see the wise person, and a commitment to yourself on the last day. I do hope at the end of each day you can give me your feedback how I can make this better for you. If there's anything missing, please do let me know. What have you learned? And what's the change you want to make after you learned what you have learned here? Day 1, I'm actually moving a bit fast, right? Day 1, your reality. What does your reality mean? Do you see yourself drowning in your situation, overload things? Yeah. Do you get smothered under? You know, how do you feel physically, emotionally, mentally, all the things that's going around you, what's going in your head? How do you deal with this feeling? Do you get crushed under when the overwhelm manifests mentally or emotionally? Because it's most commonly show up as worry and anxiety. Do you get submerged under the water? You feel that you can't even breathe. Take a breath. We all need to breathe. And we all learn how to breathe when the moment we are born. And it's important. Just by breathing. Do you find you're swarm? You're so swarm that at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, you're thinking about, what have I forgot to do? Oh shit. What didn't do? Oh, whom did we let down? And do you find yourself inundated with, as you may feel grumpy, irritable, taking your frustration out on those you love? We may convince ourselves that we are doing everything well enough, everyone else seems to be managing their life better than us. When overwhelm affect our spirit, we felt hopeless. It leads to a crisis of faith and depressions. It causes us to check out, to shut down, become less effective, less productive in a vital area of our life. We stop eating healthily, exercising, taking care of ourselves. Sometimes the feeling of overwhelm is so intense that you numb it with food, alcohol, social media, shopping. Sound familiar? When you're so overwhelmed, all you want is just blank out. Switch on the TV, just eat, or maybe have a glass of wine or two, or go shopping. When we beat ourselves up for making over these choices, deepening our feelings of helplessness. Have a thing when you were overwhelmed, and it become a frustration, when you felt overwhelmed, when you felt engulfed, when you felt swarmed, crushed under. What do? What is the impact on you, on your health, on your thoughts, on your emotion, on your sleep? Where are you on that? You see, overwhelm affects us on all levels, our mind, our body, our spirit. It's a feelings, it's a psychological stage in which our body is called upon to do more than what is designed to do, right? So if you look at a glass and you keep filling your water, what will happen? The glass will spill up, because the glass is meant to fill up to the rim, to the top, and that's it. You see, a glass, just imagine the capacity to hold all the water in the glass. It's just like your life. It holds all your responsibility, all your stress, your burden that you face. It holds the commitment you take on, the big one, the small ones, the temporary, the long-term, those you have chosen and those life has handed to you by choice or not by choice, right? You see, when the stress of overwhelm manifests physically, it plays a role in many of the diseases that plague our culture. Cancer, heart disease, inflammation, migraine. I think migraine is probably one of the very common one. You have a headaches, irritation, bowel disease. I can definitely vote for that. I have very sensitive tummy. I have such a bad migraine, used to be on my right. There's one state I can't even see the screen. It just blanked out. So what is happening now? You keep loading stresses into your glass, whether by choice, by necessity, or simply because you spend more times on this planet world, your glass is overflown. When it does, you experience overwhelm. If there's room, is a space in your glass, you have the capacity and space in your life to deal with the inevitable stresses that top up as a matter of course, and you're better able to manage whatever comes your way in any given day, in any given season. But when you're full, you're full. So what do you do when you're full? And do you know, overwhelm is actually a very holistic problem. What do I mean? Imagine this Africa about 500 years, 5,000 years ago, and you're out there with your children or your baby strapped to you, what would they be doing? You'll be looking out whether there's any lions, tigers, cheetah around that attack you. And suddenly you have these senses around you. Your hair will pick up. And you saw a lion crouching in the background. What do you do? You see, there's an area in our brain called the hypothalamus that sends a signal to your adrenal glands to make a hormone called epinephrine, right? Which release it into your bloodstream. What it does is a job to prepare your body to either to go into battle or to get away, which is what we call the fight or the flight mode. What this hormone actually does is suppress the function of your body so that all your energy is focused on one point, which is harnessed toward one purpose, getting you and your children out of the situation alive. Once you and your children are safe, your body will typically stay on high alert for an hour, or as you break down the extra epinephrine, okay? Epinephrine. The thing is, our ancient response system are designed for a short period of acute stress, followed by ample time for our body to recover. It doesn't always translate very well into our modern world. You see, the problem is most of our stresses we face these days are not life-threatening anymore. There's no tiger, lions, or leopard that's trying to pounce on us and eat us. But our body stress response can't always tell the difference between a lion stalking at us or a deadline at work. Because our subconscious just tells us it's a critical situation, you need to deal with it. So for those of us with a history of major stress or trauma, our body are even more likely to react in way disproportionate to the current level of threat. In other words, a stress response is your body way of saying, please pay attention. This is actually a good thing, right? Overwhelm is a holistic problem. So it is good. Just imagine if your hand, we have no sense of pain, and your hand touch fire, and what is that? It's like, oh, by the time your hand is half gone, you're like, oh, I'm caught fire, because you have no pain. So the pain is meant to protect you. Likewise, the stress is meant to protect you. The problem is when there's too much stress arising from too many different sources, and the stress is prolonged over time. So that's when our body no longer gets time to break down, to recharge, to clear out the hormones, to relax, to replenish. We lose our ability to resent what to pay attention to and how to respond. Right. In this circle, this wheel that I draw, there's 8 aspects to it. What I would like you to do is to think of this as 8 areas. Sorry. Right. Oh, it doesn't draw here. Okay, never mind. What I want to take a look here is think about the aspect in your life. I'll give you the 8 aspects if that helps, right? Look at it. 1, career. Your social, which is the relationship. Family. Yeah, family. So it's a career. You have social. There's a relationship. Your family. Your personal growth. Spiritual. Contribution, what you're giving to. Your finance and your health. That's the 8 aspects. Once you put them down, you want to repeat them? Yeah, okay. So it's career, social, your personal growth, spiritual, contribution, finance, family, and health. So the 8 aspects. Now, once you put down the 8 aspect, if you can spend a bit of time, because now you're doing it at home, rate from 1 to 10, put down what is the level of satisfaction, where you are in terms of each of these aspects, right? 10 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. There's no right or wrong. It's not about having more or less. It's about you. I give you an example. Let's say finance, right? I can have $1 million, but I'm a 1 because I want to be a 10 million. So 1 million is too little. So I'm 1. I'm not happy, dissatisfied. It's my priority. Another person, I have 200,000. I'm very happy that I retire. I have a house now. Money is enough for me to pay for my living expense. But I would like a little bit more. So for holiday, so I'm probably about a 6 or maybe 7. But I'm very happy. Just want to get a little bit higher, maybe to 8. Then I'm happy. You see what I mean? It's not that whether you are a 6, 7, 5, 4, you want to work harder. It's to you how important to you. You want to work of it. And how much you have does not dictate what is the level of satisfaction. So this is very personal. And during the webinar, somebody asked me the questions, is it my money, or is it my husband and my money, or is it my husband money? So the answer will be, will it be your money or your husband money, or is it combined? It will depend on you. How do you see your finance? Do you see your finance as you, your husband finance as his, or do you see your finance as one together? So like I say, it's how you see it. If you see that my husband money and my husband together, we put it together, it's one account, so that's together. Okay, but you may find that I see that level of satisfaction at 5. Your husband may see its level of satisfaction at 7. So that's personal. Okay, so this is talking about you. What is your perspective? Do I have that clear? Once that's done, I want you to do a step 2, or you call it step 3. Think of your stress. Where is your stress coming from? At which area of your life? Spend some time on it today, and let's come back tomorrow in the day 2 and spend about 5 to 10 minutes to reflect on what you have done. I'll see you then. And I'll close up. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. Bye.